Hi, welcome to Jeremy's Tech Channel, and today I get to take a first look at Gnome 46 with Ubuntu 24.04 LTS. And welcome to the channel. I'm Jeremy. This is the Tech Channel, and today we're going to take a look at Ubuntu 24.04 LTS. It's been a bit since I've looked at other operating systems. I've been on Pop! OS for over a year. And so I'm looking forward to seeing Gnome 46 and see some things like the installer and the new App Store and see if snaps are snappy now, things like that. My wife has been using Ubuntu for over a year, but for her, it's essentially you run some updates and she uses her web browser and that's it. So it's an easy deal. I haven't really had to do much else but update for her. So we're going to fire up the virtual machine. We're going to take a look at the install process. We're going to poke around and see if it's for us, see if it's for you. This will be fun. So here we go. We're going to try or install Ubuntu 24.04.LTS. This is a virtual machine that's been set up with 10 cores and 16 gigabytes of RAM. We'll see how this goes. Let's pull in the startup screen. We'll see how long this takes. One of the things that's interesting about Ubuntu is they have really stuck strong to the Snap ecosystem. Most of the other distros I use Flatpaks, but I know that Snaps has been something that they've been using specifically with the server space. So, they stuck with it. I've heard that the speed for launching the program has gotten a lot better. We'll see if that's the case. And here we are. We are in the desktop. Looks a little weird as far as the resolution goes, but it's preparing Ubuntu. But one of the things that you get a chance to do with these live environments, whether you fire it up in a virtual machine or you load it onto a USB stick and boot it in to the live environment, is you get a chance to see what it is like. So if you're curious about if it's going to see some things like your webcam, your Wi-Fi, all those kinds of things, it's good to load it up on a USB drive, pop it in, and see if it'll pick those things up. If you're just curious about how things are organized, what kernel is being used, those kinds of things, pulling it up in a virtual machine to see if the workflow is going to be good for you, man, that's the way to go. So here we go. I'm just going to go ahead and go through the install process, and then we'll deal with resolution and things later, because this is nice and big. I just moved my head up so that see the next button, but it's got a next button. English. I'm obviously speaking English, so we'll go next. Accessibility. This is a nice addition here for options that you might need. High contrast, large text. Let's make the text large, right? Reduce the animation, those kinds of things. This is a welcome addition before you get through this. And someone who needs this accessibility, having it be able to set up on the install process is pretty great. Visual alerts right there. Let's see here. Ooh, pointing and clicking, mouse keys, and being able to desktop zoom. That's really great. That should not be understated how nice it is to have that right in the install screen. Good job, Ubuntu. I think that's a really nice thing. And also, we have a back button now. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. I actually meant to fix this accessibility feature here. I want high contrast. You see, you can have that there. Excellent. English US, obviously that's me. Now it's like, hey, do you want to install or do you just want to try? So this is where you can choose to just go through the live environment and then choose the installer, or you can go ahead and go through the install process. Pretty cool. Let's install. Then we'll mess around. We'll poke around after we install, shall we? It's been a while since we've done an install. I'm looking forward to this. So here in the installation, you have two choices. You have interactive installation so that they can walk you through. Or if you're deploying a bunch of machines, you can save a YAML file and then use that to quickly make all your choices and your selections for your operating system ready to go. That's pretty great. We're going to do the interactive installation because I'm only installing this on one virtual machine. Default selection or extended selection. So the default is just essentially some basic utilities. Essentially, do you want it to be minimal on your installation or do you want all the stuff? I tell you what, let's see how minimal it is, and let's go with that. So you can at least go, hey, now I know. I hate when they install LibreOffice. I don't want LibreOffice. I want this other Office suite. We can see together what they actually mean, the Essentials web browser and basic utilities. Okay? Install third-party software. If you are against proprietary software, good luck on some of this stuff. But here you go. You can choose to do your third-party proprietary stuff here. I am going to go ahead and install these because I think most of you are going to be doing that. And now is the time for partitioning and setting up your drive for installation. If you are not going to do a dual boot or you're doing a virtual machine like I'm doing here, we're just going to erase and install Ubuntu on this. Now we're going to create an account. My name. I don't think I want the computer's name to be Jeremy Standard PC Q35 ICH9 2009. We're just going to call it Jeremy Ubuntu. And there's my username. And then password. So you have this option here to use Active Directory and get yourself a part of that domain in that Active Directory if you're in a Windows environment. Not that you're necessarily using Windows, but maybe you're a developer or something, you're using Ubuntu, but everyone else in the office is using Windows, and the IT guy is big into using Active Directory. Here you go. You can add that. This is just a virtual machine. We're not messing with that, but that's pretty cool. I don't see that very often. Maybe that's changed, but that's pretty cool. It actually got this right. I'm technically in Vietnam. If you're curious why I'm in Vietnam right now and have a Texan accent, check out my last video and see what I've been doing over the past year. But for the purposes of this video, I will be moving it to the Central Time Zone. And now you get a chance to review your choices and install. And here's the install. So now we'll go ahead, speed this up, and I'll see you once this is finished. Okay, so that took like over 30 minutes to install. I think there was some instability with my network connection, but I'm not sure. So the install might have been just slower than normal. Normally for me, when I set up a virtual machine like this, it takes 5 to 15 minutes at the most. And we did a minimal installation, if you remember, with some proprietary drivers, and that took a bit. It could have been my network, could have been the installer, but that was a long install. Let's restart and let's see what we got. Ubuntu 24.04. And here we are at the login screen. So I'm going to go here, enter in the password I gave it. Then we'll log into it. Welcome to Ubuntu 24.04 LTS. Here's a nice setup screen. I always appreciate this. Look, if you've been doing Linux for a while, you're like, okay, I already know how to do all of this, but it's nice to have. And then they have this Enable Ubuntu Pro, which gives some extra security updates for a longer period of time. And I think if you're just an individual, at least with the version before, it was free. So we're going to skip that now. Here you go. You can share or not share, and this would be useless for anyone. So I'm going to not share. And then they want you to open up the App Center. But first, I've got to fix a couple things for my personal self. I am going to adjust something. So you have a right click and I can go right to display settings. That's nice. We'll go here. Boom. They have a 4:3. We're going to go. So my screen itself is actually 16:10. But we'll do 16:9. And we'll see what it looks like. Looks way more natural. Let's see what it looks like with some scaling here. No. We'll be fine. But you can do some fractional scaling. Let's see if scaling it to 125, what does that look like? Okay, about 150%. All right. So if you hear anyone talk about what fractional scaling is, now you can see it in action if you're unsure. There you go. All right, so we got that squared away. We have appearance, the default, and you can change your highlight color and whether you want light or dark. I move to dark. Some of these are dynamic if you're using light or dark. Some of these backgrounds, which is pretty cool if you don't know what that means. So for instance, I'm like this. This is the, oh, this is interesting. But the home guy, let's put him where he actually should be. Boop. He didn't want to go there. He only wants to go here. That's interesting. I wonder if that's supposed to be that way or not. I wonder if there's an update to fix that. I don't know. But we'll move on, shall we? So you see that? That's a cool little one. And then when we just move it to dark, now you can see the desktop background has changed and the highlight color is orange. What if we want to make it purple? Those are some things that you may or may not like. They like to put a bar over here and looks like this is your apps button. You also see this highlighted up here in the top left. This is where your desktops are. So you can go from desktop to desktop like so, if you choose to do so. So there you go. 2 workspaces, choose the workspace, move on with your day. But I kind of like this extra color. Woo! So pretty. You have your center. This is very similar to the Gnome I was using through Papa West. They had some extra extensions like to be able to tile your windows and some other things like that, but this is not any different. In fact, I'm going to make one more change here because I chose a 16:9, but my screen is a 16:10. So I'm just going to do that and see if things work a little better and see if I put this back at 100. See if the home deal will go where it's supposed to go. So I got a little distracted with the home folder, okay? It's not wanting to go anywhere outside of this. It could be a little fluke with my install. I'm not sure. But we're going to go ahead and move on. Very crisp, very sharp. Everything is clean and simple. You can quickly change your styles here. Power mode, power saver, balanced. You've got your settings right there and your network communication and screenshot tool. Boom. You can take a picture of the screen. Yay! Makes a nice little screen sound you can show in files. Here's your file explorer. Rounded corners, buttons off to the right if you like that sort of thing. And then we open up. Here we go. And this is Eye of Gnome image viewer. And hey, looks pretty nice. So we can make it full screen. Leave full screen. Nice and easy. That works great. You know, within this virtual machine, things are running pretty quick and snappy. Let me pull up a terminal. Let me see a couple things. I bet they have time. So here we go. There's your read of what memory is being used. 1.5 gigabytes is being used. You know, whatever. In today's world, what if? Oh, also, let's see. Right click, pin to dash. That's nice. Nice little notification there. Let's close the terminal. So I'm installing NeoFetch real quick. I just found out NeoFetch is not being developed anymore. So I'm going to have to find something else to be able to get the cool little information on your system and the little ASCII showing up so people can see what you got going on there. But this is good. We can see an install process through the terminal, which is super simple. Debian-based installs with the apt commands. Pretty easy. Now let's install, or let's run NeoFetch. Full screen mode. Let's see if it'll do it again. NeoFetch. Okay. See, the first time it didn't draw everything or render everything out on my right-hand side. Okay. Anyways, now you can see the processor, the virtual graphics card, the memory that's been assigned to it, the window manager mutter. There you go. You can see those things. That's pretty cool. So right now, the only really quirky thing I see with the GNOME 46, and it's this home folder not wanting to be anywhere else. I want to restart. So I'm going to do a quick restart. Actually, let me run an update, and I'm going to do it through the App Center. I've not used this App Center yet. And let's run an update, and let's see, first off, if we can do that in this App Store. And then we'll go and see, it says it's checking for updates. And we have a couple things, and I'm pretty sure your Firefox is the snap. Actually, wow, this is taking forever. I'm wondering if I'm having some network instability, but I don't know. Let's open up Firefox and let's see if we're connected to the network. And let's see how quick this loads. This is the first time launching Firefox, their snap version, and let's see how fast it launches. There we go. We click. And there it is. Great. Thanks for keeping us safe. And it looks like my internet is a little slow right now, but that launch was super easy. No big deal. They have a little help menu here to, help you. And I noticed on the install process, it was looking through, finding things on their server, and it ran through trying to install something 3 times, the same file. And then it would fetch it again, and then it would fetch it again, and then it finally worked, and it was okay. That was weird. This has just been a little quirky on the install. It's been a little quirky on everything. And what I don't know is if that's normal, like people are dealing with that and that's it. Why don't you tell me in the comments if this has been normal for you? Maybe this is why you don't use Ubuntu. Maybe, I don't know. But I didn't go through this when I installed Ubuntu on my wife's computer a year ago. It was an easy process. So I'm wondering if it's my network connection. Maybe I'm giving them a pass. But I shouldn't have to go through some of these things to get my system to work. And maybe I missed something, and that's okay. But if I'm a new Linux user and I decide, the only name I know is Ubuntu, I'm going to download that. I know there's some, whatever the pro features are, or enterprises use it, servers use it. So obviously it's got to be something worth using. And you don't know any of this to be able to go through and try to correct some of the minor issues that you're dealing with in your system. That's going to be a problem. So, once again, I'm willing to admit that maybe there's something I've done that has caused a challenge, but I don't think so. So there it is, Ubuntu 24.04 LTS. People get excited about it. So many things are built from it. I always joked and called it Ubuntu season because everything downstream starts working from it. But we had some quirks today, and some of it seemed to be addressed with a restart after the initial install. Some of it seemed to be potentially my network. Some of it just seemed to be the way things were, and maybe they just got to work out some bugs. I mean, there were some new things. You had the new installer and you had the new app center with a couple other things. But really, I just wanted to get a chance to see Gnome 46. I really wanted to see Ubuntu 24.04 LTS, because this is one that's going to be supported. That LTS means long-term support. It's just going to be supported for a long time. And I'm guessing all the little quirks that we dealt with are going to be addressed very soon. So if you're looking at this, even a week or two later from when this video was posted, probably a lot of these things are going to be addressed. It seems to be pretty dependent, making sure it can get connected to the servers, and maybe my internet connection caused some issues today. I'm really not sure. The GNOME environment, it's even more simplified. Off in the top right on the taskbar area, things were even more simplified. Instead of saying workspaces off on the top left, it's just had some pill-looking icons to get through there. And I love workspaces. Things were implemented well from the Ubuntu team with their own branding and theming. Looked good to me. So as far as GNOME 46, yay. As far as Ubuntu 24.04 LTS, I'm not sure. It was quirky with the install, and it was quirky with the App Center, and there was a couple other quirky things with the actual desktop. I would restart, and then all of a sudden I was able to put the home folder in a different area, and you're like, what's the big deal? It's not a big deal, but it was still annoying. The install process should not take over 30 minutes on this machine, and even that virtual machine. So those are the things that I struggled with. I feel like I gave myself more questions than answers, and maybe you feel the same way too. Maybe wait a little bit if you want to try. I mean, it wouldn't hurt to put it on your own virtual machine or your own USB drive and run it in live environment, see how it works for you. Maybe you won't have the same issues. Go ahead and share in the comments and say, hey, this did work for me, or hey, this didn't work for me. And maybe we can help each other out in this. Having Ubuntu as a part of your main system, I get it for a lot of people. There's just a lot of enterpriseness in it that might be attractive to you or might repulse you, depending upon the kind of person you are, and just feeling like that there's a lot of support there. I didn't have the best experience, and that's okay. Maybe I come back to it and see what's happening later. Maybe it was my virtual machine. Maybe it was my network. Maybe it was them. I don't know. But I really am giving a lot of outs and escapes on this, aren't I? I'm not trying to. My experience was things were a little quirky and I didn't feel like they should. So, long story short, that's the way I felt. Like the color scheme, GNOME 46 seems to be really cool. The design of the install process was very well thought out. It looked cool. It worked. A little slow. And the App Center, because of things being slow and populating, I really couldn't get a good read of that. Other than that, I'd say the minimal install is cool. Just Firefox and a couple of utilities, I would consider doing that. And other than that, that's Ubuntu 24.04 LTS. So thanks for joining us today, and I'll see you next time.